Hi guys! Today I want to make a video that's a bit like a tutorial. I really would like to share with you guys what's called Love Live, and I've made a video in the past where I was in a cosplay that I wanted to show you guys because I had said that I didn't have any new cosplays, but that was one of my new cosplays, and it was Honoko Kasaka from Love Live. And I did go a little bit into the plot of mostly what's the anime. It's a little bit of the game, but I want to go into more about the game because that's where the whole thing originated. So I'm going to give you some basic tips in order to make it a little bit easier if you're interested in getting into the game. Love Live is basically like a rhythm game, and if you don't know what a rhythm game is, it's like, think about Guitar Hero, how there are notes coming at you and you have to press the notes as they go past a certain point. It's basically like that, except for you touch on the screen where the notes are. It's actually a mobile app, so you can get it on both Apple products and Android, which is great, so no one's left out. It's a completely free app besides in-game purchases, so if you are really into it like I am, chances are you will spend some money on it, but it's usually not too much. The story is not a big aspect of the actual game, but as you level up in the game, you'll unlock different parts of the main story that follows the main 9 idols. And it'll basically give you little snippets of how they became idols and what they do, different little funny antics and different adventures that they go on, and it just gives you kind of a better idea of who these main characters are, tells you more about their personality. If you're really interested in the story aspect, I would suggest watching the anime. Basically, just like the anime, it follows Honoko Kasaka, who is a second-year high school student. Her high school is about to close, so she decides that she wants to make an idol group in order to gain more interest by prospective students. So she and her 2 best friends, Kotori and Umi, they start an idol group, and basically the other 6 idols just gain interest in it, and they join, and basically just follows how they do and how their road like to becoming a great idol group and saving their school. So to get to the actual gameplay basics, I'll start with some of the like currency and such kind of things. Like most games, it has an energy bar, so when you play a song, depending on the difficulty, it'll take up a certain amount of LP, which is the energy. So let's say you play an easy song, it's only 5, if you play an expert song, it's 25, so you can play for as long as you want until your LP runs out. The next currency is a love gem, which is what you would spend any actual currency on if you wanted to. It's the only thing in the game that you would ever have to pay for. They're a little bit harder to get, and that's why it costs money sometimes, but you can still easily maintain a good amount of love gems without paying any money for it. What they're usually used for is, well, the only things they're used for is to restore LP, so 1 love gem restores all of your LP, or they're used for honor student scouting, which I'll get to in a little bit. There's another type of currency called coins, which is also another currency that you don't have to pay for. It just kind of comes to you when you play games. It's easy to use, and you only use it when you're practicing usually. Practicing is what I like to call sacrificial. Like, basically what you do is you pick an idol, usually your more powerful idols, your rarer idols, and you want to level them up, so you choose the idol and then you choose any idols you don't mind getting rid of, and all of their experience is basically transferred over to your better idol, and they're dead. Basically, they're just gone. So you basically sacrifice less powerful idols to make your more powerful idols more powerful. It's interesting. Special practice is like, if you ever heard of, like if you've looked into Love Live, it's what is idolization. It's when you have 2 cards that aren't idolized, and they're the exact same card. Special practice is when you choose those 2 cards and you basically smash them together and you get a more powerful card. And when you idolize a card, that's basically its top form, and that's when you can level it up to the like max level. Also, when you special practice an idol, you can then what is called max bond, and that's when you put an idol into your team. So when you put an idol in your team, it'll gain a bond from you using it. When it max bonds, it can only max bond when it's idolized. When it max bonds, it will give you a short story about that particular character, and when you finish that story, it'll give you a love gem. So speaking of teams, I'd like to get into teams and attributes. You'll notice when you play a song, they all have a specific attribute, which is smile, pure, or cool. Smile is pink, and pure is green, and cool is blue. And basically what that means is that when you make a team, you want to make at least 3 different teams. One that has mostly smile, one that has mostly pure, one that has mostly cool. And when you play songs with that specific attribute, you want to use that team as well. Now, I don't know about other people and what their preferences are, because some people might want to actually pick out the members of their team manually, but when I make my teams, I basically go into the team formation screen. On the bottom of the screen there'll be like little options. One of them says auto formation. If you click on auto formation, it'll give you the option of smile, pure, or cool. When you click on that, it'll basically make an optimized team for that specific attribute. Basically, I've found that it's pretty decent. So I talked a little bit about scouting before, so I'll get into it a little bit more. There are 2 types of scouting. There's regular scouting and there's honor student scouting. Regular scouting uses what are called friend points, and these aren't anything that you can buy. You just kind of gain them by like getting a certain goal in a song. You use friend points to scout either mostly normal students, which are anyone besides the main 9, so they're just kind of other extraneous students. And sometimes you can get rare. Honor student scouting is when you use a love gem, or actually 5 love gems at least, to get only the main 9 idols. So you can get anything from rare, super rare, to ultra rare. The one option you have is to use 5 love gems for 1 draw, which is just using 5 love gems to get 1 idol. And then the other option is to use 50 love gems for an 11 draw, which is obviously 1 extra idol, so it's a better deal. And when you, like logically, when you take an 11 draw versus a 1 draw, there's a better chance that you're going to get at least 1 good card. But I will go into more reason why you should save up for 11 draws later in my tips section. But basically, those are the 2 different kinds of honor student scouting, and that's usually what people use love gems for, and why a lot of people tend to actually spend like actual currency on love gems is because they want nice cards. The last thing of the main basics before I get to my tips is events, which are things that happen, I'd say every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm sure there's like an actual time frame that they happen. I'd say more like 2 weeks, so they happen pretty often. Events can either be a score match, or I don't even know what the other one's called, but it's like an event song. For both of them, actually, there's always a specific idol of the main 9 that it's about. So there'll be a different one every time, and it'll basically focus on a specific card that most people, when they play the event, are trying to obtain. And you need to get to a certain amount of event points in order to get that card. It's possible to get 2 of the same card so that you can idolize them, but I've never actually gotten that, so I don't know how far after obtaining the first super rare card you have to go before you can gain another one, so I can't give you any advice on that. So, score match, which is basically you enter a competition between you and 3 other members that are just throughout the world. Basically what you do is you click whatever difficulty you want, so if you want to do hard, you click hard, and it'll give you a random song to play. You play it by yourself, and at the end, based on how well you did in the song, you'll get like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th place, and based on what rank you get within that, you get a certain amount of event points. And there are different like tiers of event points, so if you get like say 1,000 event points, you'll get a certain amount of coins or something. And it'll keep going until it gets to the SR, and then it'll go a little bit after that too. I'm not sure how far, like again, I don't know how far after that SR you need to go in order to get another SR in order to idolize it, but that's basically all there is to it. The other type of event is, I have no idea what it's actually called, but it's an event song. So there'll be a specific event song that you play in order to get event points. So when you play other songs, anything but the event song, just regular songs, when you play there'll be little things inside of the circles that are the notes. For example, there might be books or birds, which were previous ones that I can remember. When you hit a note with one of them in that, you'll basically like collect a certain amount of those books or birds or whatever, and then you use those in order to play the event song. So It's a bit more complicated. You need to play a lot more than in Score Match, and you can only gain event points by playing the event song. Like Score Match, it has different tiers of event points just like the other one, and everything's basically the same besides the fact that there's a specific song that you need to play. So now that I've gotten through the basics, I'm going to give you some tips that are things that basically, they get the most out of the experience. You don't have to follow these by any means, but it's kind of like both beneficial to you and also beneficial to other people who you might add as friends when you're playing. The first thing I'll go over is why it's probably a better idea to save up for an 11 draw rather than doing a lot of single draws. So first of all, I know it's not a huge, like a really good deal to get only one extra when you're using 50 love gems, which does take quite a bit of time to get depending on how far you are in the game. But like I said, if you think logically, you're going to have a better chance of getting a good card if you take a chance with 11 rather than just one. And also, every event, after an event, there is a thing called SR guaranteed, which means if you do an 11 draw, it will always 100% guarantee that you get an SR card, which is, I mean, that's not the best thing. Like, when you do an 11 draw, usually you want at least one SR, but it's not guaranteed. You can be really an unlucky person and just get all rares, which are, like I said, you can get those in regular scouting. It's really a good idea to both save up for 50 gems and then wait until right after an event until there's a guaranteed SR, because you will get at least one SR if you're an unlucky person. If not, you will get more than one SR. Maybe you are, it'll be just so much better, I promise you. The second bit of advice I want to give is that you should always idolize max bond and max level every single character you get. Even the normals, even the ones that don't seem to matter. You want to idolize max bond, max level, every single one of them, because you will get so many love gems from that, it's ridiculous. You just do it, but promise. Not only will it give you love gems, but when you use those cards after you're done idolizing, or not, if you use those cards for practice on like rare idols that are more difficult to level up, they will have so much experience, it's like ridiculous. Basically, what this means, if it's a bit confusing, like I said, you want to idolize it, so like you get two of the same cards, put them together, they're an idol. Once they're idolized, you can max level them, so practice them like any other card, using cards that you don't care about. And then max bond them, like I explained before, is when you put them in a team, and when you use them in a team, they will slowly max their bond, and when they max bond, they will give you a small story, and when you finish the story, you'll get a love gem. And the reason why you want to max level them and max bond them and idolize them is there a thing called album rewards, and it has like a certain amount of idols that you've done that to. So basically, like max level 25 idols. Once you get that, it'll just go up and you can keep continuously getting love gems. And it'll really add up, especially if you're just starting out, you get a ton of normals. It'll be just tons of love gems from both the album rewards and just like clearing their story. So make sure you idolize and max bond and max level every single one. This has a little bit to do with events. I suggest to save your love gems for scouting. This is definitely a preference. People really like it during events that they're like basically guaranteed a good card if they get to a certain point. So a lot of the time they use their love gems in order to restore their LP and get further into the event. Personally, I think that you should save it for honor student scouting because there is a greater chance for you to get more than one good idol. And usually, because it's by chance for you to get that idol, usually they're a lot more skillful rather than the event one where they're basically readily available to anyone. So they're usually not as skillful as one that you might get by chance. I know a lot of people, like my friends, who they like things that are goal-oriented rather than luck-oriented, which it totally makes sense, but I think that you get more bang for your buck to save your love gems for honor student scouting, unless it is a character that you really, really love, or a card that you really, really love. And that has yet to happen for me because my favorite idol is Honoka, and I believe that the last time there was an event for her was when I first started playing, and I didn't really understand how to do anything. so there was no way I was gonna get it. So there have hardly been anything, and so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but that's my suggestion. The last tip I want to give you guys is there's a thing called a main, which I'm sure makes sense. I'm sure that's like a thing that happens in other games. But basically it means who your main idol is. It'll show up in your front page, it'll show up when people look at your profile, but that's not the only use for it. When you play a song, you'll notice that from your friends list, if you don't have anyone on your friends list, it'll basically just give you a bunch of random people. But usually if you have friends, it will give you an option to choose them, and based on who their main is, it will help you throughout the game. So let's say you have a cool song and you want to click someone who has a cool main. So my suggestion is to main someone who is your best idol. It doesn't matter if like your best idol is still a really shitty idol, like always do your best idol. And during event songs, ones where there's just a specific song, it's a good idea to change your idol to the attribute that is of that song so that other people can use your main. And it's basically just, it's like, you don't have to do that, it doesn't affect you, but it's nice when people do that, so, you know, you would like it if people did that for you. Again, not something you need to do, it's just kind of a nice thing to do. That pretty much concludes my whole tutorial kind of thing. I hope this was really helpful. I made this video like 2 other times and I lost the file both times, and I'm really sorry if I'm like blabbery. There's a lot of stuff to get through. I'm sorry if it's a long video and it didn't really help you, but I really hope it helps someone get into Love Live, because I think Love Live is really super great. And if you need any extra help, feel free to message me. I'm not like swarmed with messages. I hardly have any subscribers, so feel free to just comment. I'll probably reply if you have any questions. If you want to add me, I think I still have some spots to add friends, so we can add each other. Overall, I just really hope this helped you. If not, I'll add some like extra help in the description. There are a lot of wiki articles. There's like a subreddit where a lot of people are really helpful, and there are like sticky pages basically that'll help you out a lot if I didn't. If you don't need any help, I would really like to know if, even if you've just started, or if you're someone who's already familiar with Love Live, I want to know who your favorite idol is and who your main is. If they're the same person, then I don't really care, you can just tell me both. If you have like a picture of the actual card of your main, like link me to it or something. Like, I actually really do care about like what mains people have and like their best cards, because I don't have very good cards, and so when people have super rare cards, I'm like, ah! So yeah, in the description below, tell me who your main is and who your favorite idol is, and I will 100% let you know how I feel about that, which will always be good because Love Live. Anyways, I know this is babbly. I'm gonna make a video right after this one about a bit of announcements for like cosplay and conventions. Hope I was helpful. Thanks so much for watching this. Hope it helped you. Hope you get into Love Live. Let me know. Comment, like, subscribe, whatnot. Anyways, goodbye. I will see you in my next video.